No.
It was a draw. I personally, I watched the fight twice, and I can't remember anything other than that wasn't even a knockdown.
Yeah. But he didn't get deducted a point for that or anything. So.
No. So like I said, it was a draw. It was a draw. Like if you can't remember what happened in the fight, it's a draw.
Yeah. So the question I was going to ask
you can't really remember if this person was really beating this person, because it would just boom, 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 boom.
How does the rematch play out if they do fight again? Sometimes not a loss, but something like this, a blemish, might get you back.
It can. You know, it's all up to Tank. It's all about how he feels inside, internally. I think, for him, it's a lot to do up here too. Like all of us. But I think that's what you're gonna get from Roach. That's what you're gonna get at Roach every time. I think it's up to Tank to see.
You think him to beat Tank, and then are you expecting him to complete those words and come fight you next?
If he beat Tank, I would love to fight Lamont next. Like if he beat Tank.
Lamont Roach and Gervonta Davis are set for their highly anticipated rematch this August. And surprisingly, many boxing insiders are favoring the unexpected name, Rolando, who suffered his first career loss. To Gervonta Davis believes the same. Man who stopped him will once again come out on top.
Definitely felt
I truly but that also didn't seem like just Tank in general. And
so is that Lamont and Tank's fault?
And I will tell you this, Tank, I know for a fact, was sparring a 122 pounder, and that was the only person he sparred all camp. Literally all camp that he sparred a 122 pounder.
Was he tall at least?
No, he's shorter than Tank.
Wow.
Or him and Tank same height. Like I said, Tank wasn't really training.
That people want to discredit Tank, he's still a pound for pound fighter.
What do you think about that fight that happened? You thought it was just an off night, or?
Everybody has an off night.
Gervonta Davis Romero said when asked who he expects to win the rematch, "I know from experience Gervonta Davis, who was knocked out in the 6th round of his own lightweight title bout against Romero back in March 2022 at Barclays Center."
Everyone has a night. It's boxing.
You want to run that back with Cruz or what?
Maybe down the line.
Roach is a fucking tremendous fighter, bro. He's a really good fighter, man, dude. He beat Hector Garcia, and then he took the belt from him, and he came up, and I know he's a lot more durable and stronger at 135,
He's also seen Tank the most in previous fights before.
They already had 2 fights.
Yeah,
is still uncertain about the outcome of his 12-round clash with Gervonta Davis this past Saturday night for his WBA 135-pound title. While Davis acknowledged Gervonta Davis' strong performance and showed him respect.
2 fights?
Tank and Roach, they fought twice before in the amateurs.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, they had history and they sparred a good amount of times, apparently, and all that stuff. Yeah, but.
So you think a rematch? Do you think this remotivated Tank? And do you think a rematch, Tank just goes in and wins that fight?
I don't know, bro. We gotta see what if it was.
Gervonta Davis will bounce back. Gervonta Davis of a press conference for his upcoming May 2nd fight against Ryan Garcia in Times Square. Romero shared his thoughts on the controversial draw between Gervonta Davis. He predicted Gervonta Davis will take the lessons from Saturday's fight and apply key adjustments in training before their rematch.
What I seen in the fight, I thought Lamont won, and I think the commission does need to do something with that knee, because if they don't, then all of us are going to think we could take a knee anytime we want. They got to do something about it. I mean, they did something about me, you got to do something about other people. Rules are rules, right? It's I like Tank though, personally, but a rule is a rule. You can't go and take a knee and then just expect not to be a knockdown. You can't get away with it, stuff like that.
When you say 1 foot in boxing and 1 foot out.
Yeah.
I think Lamont Roach might have even surprised himself that night, though I won't go that far, because he came in confident, composed, and fought like a true professional. It was a very close fight. That anything away though, Gervonta Davis is a 3 Gervonta Davis world champion, one of the best fighters of our era. Just had a really strong night against him.
Like such a small boxing world that you know what he's really doing?
No, but I mean, from what he said, obviously, I want to retire. His demeanor, it's like he don't really want to box no more. Telling people, don't box, kids, you shouldn't box, So it's kind of like he don't really love it no more, you know? You understand what I'm saying? And that will mess you up, because in a fight, you got to be all the way in. Because when problems, you know, rise in the ring, even if it's a little problem, you got to be ready to snap it in the butt.
Do you think that might light a fire under him, and how does the rematch?
I believe the rematch has to happen. There's controversy surrounding that fight, especially the random knee. None of the punches landed clean in that moment, and it wasn't a wild exchange leading up to it. It came out of nowhere. The officials didn't rule it a knockdown, but if they had, Tank would have lost. Still.
Man, how do you see it? Do you think it goes either way? Like, I don't know, who's it favoring?
I don't know if it's just because I'm getting older now or what, but I feel like Gervonta is a hell of a fighter, but he needs to get his mental together. When I hear some of his interviews and I see some of the stuff that he's saying, I can just tell that he's not in love with the sport no more. I can tell that he didn't get his just due. I mean, it was crazy to hear that he said
Roach stayed patient and composed from start to finish. And you've got to respect the way he handled himself like a seasoned pro. The rematch is just around the corner, and Ryan Garcia hasn't held back on sharing his prediction, adding even more buzz to the highly anticipated showdown. In an interview, Garcia gave a confident Gervonta think he'll shift into a different gear this time. He probably expected it to be easier, thought Roach would fold, but Roach didn't.
I think he would be better, and even a better fighter, if he went and did therapy like ASAP. Because I can just tell like he's a little sad, he's a little depressed, even before this fight. You know, so I think it'd be a better fight. I think that Lamont has the mental edge. I think anybody right now would have the mental edge over Tank, because to me he just needs to take some serious time to, like, you know, deal with whatever he's having to deal with.
Now he knows it's going to be tougher, and I think he'll be ready. I see him winning the rematch. Garch's insight.
Here's real quick to Tank and Lamont Roach. Is that the right opponent for Tank?
I don't know why everybody is kind of sleeping on Lamont, but he has a decorated amateur career too. He's a very sturdy kid. He's very skilled. You know, Tank is Tank. You know, and when I say Tank is Tank, I mean like he's a bad man. He can fight. He's tough. I know we had our dispute back and forth, whatever. But at the end of the day, if we talk about just boxing.
Hey, absolutely. So,
shaped by his own experience in the ring with Davis, brings an added layer of intrigue to the matchup. He believes Davis underestimated Roach in their first encounter, but will come back with greater focus, intensity, and urgency the second time around.
Is this a pay-per-view fight though? Would you buy it? Are you gonna buy it?
I'll love any fight that Tank has had pay-per-view. And I think that Lamont Roach is worth watching. I think that this fight is going to be very technical, very, very, very skillful, and as always, we're going to see the power of Tank on display.
Absolutely. And Lamont Roach, do you have a relationship with him?
Many boxing insiders are favoring the unexpected name, Rolando, who suffered his first career loss. To Gervonta Davis believes the same. Man who stopped him will once again.
Yo, you know, I kind of said 154. I probably was stretching it. I'm stretching 154, but I'll fight him at 147. 147, me and Conor could get it in.
You should call it Johnny Boy Boxing and fight him. If you beat Zepeda, do you feel that that's the toughest test of your career? And they'll give you the credit if you win?
Who knows? Again, come out on top. Gervonta Davis Romero said when asked who he expects to win the rematch, "I know from experience Gervonta Davis, who was knocked out in the 6th round of his own lightweight title bout against Romero back in March 2022 at Barclays Center, is still uncertain about the outcome of his 12-round clash."
Potential fight this year, how do you see it going? I ain't gonna really think about that yet because I'm waiting after you finish this fight with Roach. Roach is not just your average everyday opponent. Roach is the person who knows Tank, who's been around Tank his whole life. This is a different fight. You can't put Roach to the side like that. I'm sorry. Now, I'm not saying that he's gonna win the fight. I don't know that, but Roach cannot be this underrated like that. You understand? You gotta understand that Roach came from basically the same ecosystem as Tank came from.
With Gervonta Davis this past Saturday night for his WBA 135-pound title, while Davis acknowledged Gervonta Davis' strong performance and showed him respect.
And finally, I wanted to get your thoughts on the Gervonta Tank Davis situation. What was your assessment on his fight against Lamont Roach, and what are your thoughts on the knockdown that wasn't called in round 9?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a good fight overall. Lamont, I always knew Lamont was, you know, he wasn't coming to lay down. I've been knowing Lamont since we was kids, so we came up in amateurs together. So I knew Lamont was serious. He was coming in there to fight. But he did a lot better than
Rolando. Gervonta Davis will bounce back. Gervonta Davis of a press conference for his upcoming May 2nd fight against Ryan Garcia in Times Square. Romero shared his thoughts on the controversial draw between Gervonta Davis